All right, we are live. So, hour later than today, just because one of the live streams that I normally catch, which is normally on Friday afternoon, ended up being on Wednesday night, just due to scheduling. And since I know a chunk of my audience comes over from them and Glory Hound channel, which highly recommend you check them out. Not right now, they're wrapping up a live video, so you could go make fun of them for me, but I was in that chat and going along with them, but I wanted to do a big old unboxing instead of what I had originally planned, which was to continue doing Arkham Horror Lcg, simply because, and I want to make sure I'm live here. There we go. I am in fact live, simply because this is a huge game. This is a game I backed probably early 2019, if I remembered correctly, and it's just coming out now. So I'm super excited for this one. This is the 1.5 version of it, and yeah, it's just a big dungeon crawl type game. Plus, I have another box here of some stuff to open up. So I don't have a beer tonight. I could have grabbed one, but I felt like this was a whiskey sort of night. So I have an old-fashioned. And I am going to talk a little bit about this, because there's what some bars make as an old-fashioned, and what a more traditional old-fashioned is. What I have is a very traditional old-fashioned. This is simply whiskey, bitters, simple syrup. And mine's not quite the standard. I do not have Angostura bitters in here. I have grapefruit bitters. I just like the little bit of that citrusy, bitter taste to it. And grapefruit bitters really do give it a nice floral nose. Like, you can just, you get that kind of fruity, floral, almost taste to it that is really good. This is nothing fancy. I'm just using bullet whiskey, so very simple, but very tasty. Alright, let's start out with our first package here. Let me switch over cams. So here, from Eagle Griffin Games, we have some stuff for Pitch Car. So, Pitch Car is a dexterity flicking game that has you racing around a track, seeing how well you can do. And this is just one of the expansions I have coming for it. And I got to play it for the first time last night. This game is just a blast. So, Expansion 6, No Limits, basically adds in, that's noisy, just some more track segments. So most of the track is like this double wide stuff here, but there's some single wide, and this expansion, or extension as they call it, is really just adding in a few more pieces. A lot of these actually already exist in another expansion that I already had, but you can see how you can create this fun sort of track even with jumps. And these red bits actually drop into these grooves to give you guardrails and things like that. Super fun game. Not my favorite flicking game. That's still Ice Cool, which I have right back here. But still a lot of fun. So let me get this out of the way. I'm going to add this to my collection of stuff. I actually have all of it in a big, since you can't fit it, there's no like one definitive box. I have it in kind of one of those wardrobe boxes, plastic ones that you can slide under a bed. And with the exception of basically 2 pieces, because they're 3 feet long, all of it fits in there nicely. So this is going to fit in there nicely as well. And I think tomorrow, and I was hoping that it would come today, but I'm thinking tomorrow it's going to be, I have the loop coming. So they managed to create some sort of, I have to see how it works exactly, if it's wood or what it is, but create a loop. So you have to flick it around the loop. Oh. All right. This is Middara, Intentional Malum, Act 1. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick up Act 2 as like they open up the Pledge Manager between stuff, but I do want to pick up Acts 2 and 3 at some point in time. This, however, is a huge game. And you'll see how huge it doesn't here. Well, you'll see peanuts. Let's move this off to the side. Let's use my small box here. Peanuts. 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 That gets me enough room. So, let's pull out some boxes here. We have Kickstarter 1 promo pack. Neoprene Mats. Gotta stand up for this. And that's it. So they must have the Kickstarter 2 promo pack stuff maybe is in here. I'm not sure actually. With that, I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, so many peanuts, Dr. Glory Hog. So many peanuts. I am very tired of companies using peanuts on stuff. So let's start out actually by checking out these neoprene mats. Might seem a little bit like an odd spot to start, but it kind of helps set the world. These mats are for the 4 main characters. And they are really long. So, we have a whole bunch of different things here. We have the adventurer's card, we have stamina points, accessories, consumables, relics, disciplines, basically how you can level up, familiars, companion, armor upgrades, weapon upgrades, core, all sorts of things. And you can see kind of the aesthetic that the artwork is going for. And I want to roll out all of these because it's going to give you the best idea of what our artwork looks like for this game. Another character, this one. So the artwork is for a specific character. However, you unlock additional characters to play as you go. So they don't actually have the characters' names on here. Angel wings. And one last one in here. So as you can see, like, this is a very anime-ish art style that's going on, which I like, and I like the idea of having a game kind of in this sort of world, because, well, it is fighting monsters and fairly fantasy-esque. It isn't like your normal sword and sorcery fantasy. And that's one thing I really enjoy about it. It's just something different than I would have played before. Now that I'm thinking about this, so this is all Act 1 stuff. I'm not sure, I might be getting a second package at some point in time with the Kickstarter 2 stuff, because they're just sending Act 1 right now. And so even though I don't have Act 2 and Act 3 ordered currently, I'm wondering if the unlocks and stuff like that I would be getting from that second Kickstarter will show up at a later time. Let's get this closed up. And let's move on to the big box. I'm actually fairly impressed that the camera can get it all in there. Finish off the old-fashioned. All right. So, to give you an idea of this box size, Gloomhaven is probably about this. However, this Middara box is a little bit shorter, probably that much shorter than Gloomhaven's box is. This definitely still has more stuff in it than Gloomhaven does, which is saying something. So right off the bat, we got minis. Went down too far. Let's take a look at some of these. Assuming it allows me to. So, yeah, these are definitely not game trays. So I think I spent, with the Kickstarter 1-pack and the playmats as an add-on, probably $225. Had I gone all in on everything, like ignoring like some of the things like dice and whatnot, I think it was close to $500. So these characters that I showed you on the playmats, fly into view. Of the playable characters, getting too much light from here. No, now I'm getting too much light from over there. So let's turn this one back on. But sculpts are very nice, and all sorts of things with the different monsters, characters you can play, people you run up against in there. And honestly, the minis are cool. This game doesn't need them. Probably not. It makes it look cooler on the table. But I'll get below here to some of the stuff that really made this game for me. Yeah, so with like all the options, I mean, it was probably more than 500 because they did resin minis of all the heroes. This is the guy on the cover and stuff like that. So just so much stuff. And it was kind of, especially for the second one, a little maybe Kingdom Death-like, in that since people knew what they were getting in the game and it was going to be more of that, they were all in for getting, or there were a ton of people that backed it, and because it's a big game, it went up real fast. So you just started to get like, here's an alternate sculpt of this character as well. This one is just fascinating. Nothing like, kind of basically a tentacle flower. Or this tree that's holding heads. I probably wouldn't have looked at this Kickstarter campaign had the Dice Tower not done a playthrough of it. And it was just part of their testing Tuesdays, or whatever they were doing. Different colored bases. And watching them play. Yeah, Tentacle Flower, I'm sure that was your band name in high school. But watching them play was just really cool, and it was like, this is a theme that I hadn't heard of before. Plus, there are just some really cool things about these tiles. Let's see if I can show it off. So a lot of games do spot UV on boxes, stuff like that, to get that little shiny effect. Well, here, not sure how easily you can tell. Let's see if I can get the light. Yeah, you can see how the light reflects off of there differently on the blue. All of that is spot glossed. There, you can really tell it there. And so there are tons of these tiles. Looks like 72. And it's not just the water. You have things like this little, I have no idea what that might be. Some invention that have spot gloss on them as well. I'm not going to go through all of these tiles because there's 38 tiles, all double-sided, and that would take me a while. Oh my goodness, that is heavy. So we'll come back to what I just pulled out in a second here. But I'm not sure what's on the bottom. Oh, okay. Now I know it's on the bottom. We have a piece of tag board to protect stuff. A map. And not that many sheets of tokens, actually. Only 4 massive sheets of punchboard tokens. This is going to be fun to punch out. I'm actually looking forward to it. So, like, these all look like they're status effects. We have summons or other stuff down there. And these are kind of flat color-wise, but then, like, even this tile has a gloss to it. So when you put down the water, it works right. You have characters, or probably monsters you're fighting, activation tokens for different characters. So Dr. Glory Hog is wondering if I collect anything besides board games. So for a while before I really got into board games, I got a lot of comics. And I still have a lot of those. I guess I'm trying to think. Not a ton. I have some like retro video games and stuff like that, but I don't. It's not really a collection. I just kind of grab the ones that I know I like. And it's the same with like Lego sets or stuff like that. I don't really have stuff that besides board games, I'm not sure that I have anything I collect right now. I used to do comics and DVDs. Still have a lot of DVDs because I didn't want to store them all with their cases because that took up way too much room. So, here, interesting choice. Probably just to keep the front cover looking nice. We have the rule book, version 1.1. Detail, examples, 75 total pages. So a lot of rules. Then we have a few different books here. We have the diagram book. We have the crawl book. So I think crawl is just when you do a one-off. Diagram is going to be for some of the setup. We have a bounty pack. They did it. They did what they're supposed to do. There are baggies. Large hidden card deck. These are all the characters, monsters, stuff like that. This one actually I think is a summon, that you can summon this blade to have it fight alongside you. But I'm working my way down to something in particular here. Battle dice. It's like some player aid cards. This right here is why it was so heavy. That is the adventure book for Act 1. From what I've heard, the other ones might be a little bit smaller, but without spoiling anything in here, there's 482 pages. And we'll drop that off camera. There's hidden text and things like that. Yes, this is a huge campaign book for Act 1 of their game. Hidden medium card deck. Hidden small card deck. So we have items, initiative cards. So when I was talking about discipline, these are those cards. So basically, as you level up, you can add in new things you do. Items, or like item upgrades. Looks like some more monsters. More levels of different disciplines. Handy dandy decoder. So here, these cards are more the size of the actual item cards. I guess these are more upgrades to them. You have all sorts of weapons. Armor, potions, more weapons. It's like, this is a mundane weapon. That's rare armor. And then different prices for stuff. Relics. And save sheets. So, I mean, looking here, I'm guessing that you can have a lot of different characters you can play as. Let me not pack this up right now. Pull out the dice, a lot of different ones. Created a shadow. And then I still have the Kickstarter 1 promo box. Yeah. I keep on looking back at that comment of, is that a campaign book? And even now, I'm still thinking, that's the campaign book? That's so much stuff in there. This is a Gloomhaven size adventure, but with way more writing than Gloomhaven. So some cards for the different characters. Their initiative. New items. Some of the big character cards for other monsters or things you can fight. And even on the back of this is just story text. More bases. And more minis. So that sword that I showed you that you could summon, in the base game it has a token. Here we have a mini for it. Or like this lion looking dude. Now, I will say one thing about this game, and that's that, like I said, it is very much an anime type of theme. That means that you do get an anime type of look from some of the characters and the anime type of fan service that, I mean, is very common. It's like Nyx or her. It is very anime style artwork. It's not something that really bothers me about it, but I did want to call it out in case you're looking at this and thinking, oh, this is a different feeling dungeon crawl than a lot of them. Is this going to be the right one for me or the right one for my group? Just know that going into it, that maybe might be something that you want to consider for your group. But that is Unintentional Malum, or Middara, Unintentional Malum Act 1. Let me switch cameras here. So, this room is getting really warm since I don't have a fan running or the AC running because it feels silly to run it this early in Minnesota. Yeah, it's Dr. Goyhog is saying he thinks the art is fine overall and it's nice to have a different theme every once in a while. And I think that's really the big thing that drew me into this. And you can they have a YouTube channel for their company, Succubus Publishing, and they do a really good job of explaining the world, but basically there are people born on Earth who are able to get pulled over to this other world that I'm trying to think of how it's basically the anime more so piece of it, and so they try and keep it like, okay, this is fairly real world, but for this anime piece. And so like the gal with wings, as you transfer between the two worlds through this portal, you basically unlock your true form that you would have on that world, that other world, but it doesn't really work the other way as well, or there's something about it so that you really don't go hop back and forth. It all takes place on Middara. But now I have a whole bunch of packing up to do, and you probably don't all want to see me doing that, so thank you all for watching. Hopefully this was a fun little dive into everything that comes in this giant box. And seeing how much there is, I'm now questioning if I would ever play another act. So I might just stick with Act 1, but we'll see. So Dr. Glory Hog asked, if you stepped through the portal, what would you unlock? I feel like I would develop some sort of like armor, like integrated armor system, where I'd just be able to, yeah, something that I could use as protection. I think that's what mine would be. Dr. Glory Hog, what about you? What do you think you would unlock? But while you're thinking about that, and anybody else who's watching, leave what you think you would unlock in the comments below. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to find out more about what I do besides these videos on here on Malts and Meeples, there are links in the description below for nerdologists.com, which is a nerdy website. Once I play this, I will be doing a written review over there, as well as I talk about all sorts of other things as well, so not board game related, or fairly often RPG related, anime, books, anything like that, anything nerdy. And we got a response, so Dr. Glory Hog thinks the ability to talk to animals would be cool. That would be really intriguing. Yeah, being able to talk to animals would be really cool. I was like, would I really want to know what my cat is saying all the time? Or thinking all the time? But if it's only talking, then it's only when my cat's meowing that I would have to understand what she is saying. And that could be useful, though most of the time it's just feed her treats, give her food. She probably needs a few pets, then she'll leave and be grouchy about it. So besides nerdologist.com, I have the Malts and Meeples YouTube channel, and I have 10 Minute Marvel. That... oh, don't talk to cats. Yeah, cats would absolutely be rude to you. They're jerks. It is a true statement. I feel like dogs it might get a little bit tiring of just every 2 seconds being like, oh, have I told you I love you? Oh, have I told you I love you? Can you pet me? Oh, thank you for petting me. I love you. It'd be very affirming, but I feel like I would not want to talk to a domesticated animal. But 10 Minute Marvel, a really fast Marvel podcast that I talk about the shows that have come out recently, the movies, all sorts of things. So normally I have a beer and give a little toast, say bottoms up, and down a whole bunch for this, but I've already finished off my old fashioned. So I guess with that, bottoms up, and guess may your old fashions not have maraschino cherries in them.